Great morning, holy brothers and sisters! For the 12th of CHESHVAN in the Kitzur Likutei Moharan, today's lesson will be called Divine Desires. When we call out to God with imagery that applies to flesh and blood, i.e. anthropomorphic descriptions such as with a strong hand and an outstretched arm, Devarim 26:8, or names such as compassionate and gracious, Shemos 34:6, and He is there for us whenever we call Him, it is only a consequence of His loving kindness. For were it not for His loving kindness, it would be totally inappropriate to call out or to describe God with imagery, praises, words, and letters. But all this is simply a kindness from God. In light of this, it is fitting for a person to rouse himself and to pray with great enthusiasm when he recalls the greatness of the Creator as he perceives Him in his own heart. For God is far more exalted and sublime than any of the praises and imagery. It is only out of God's love, compassion, and great kindness that He has given us permission to call Him by these names and to pray before Him, in order that we might merit to cleave to Him. Therefore, it is fitting that a person should at least say these words and imagery wholeheartedly, with great feeling and self-transcendence, so that we may merit, through God's loving kindness, to call Him by these names and descriptions. The Torah never tells us any lies, so whenever it does give an actual description of God, it must be on some level if this is the actual truth. And we know that we describe God by many of these ways in the Torah, that God stands on the mountain with an outstretched arm. So how can it be that God has these type of attributes? So in the Rambam, he explains that we are allowed to do this in order for us to gain some semblance of what God is. But we know also we're not allowed to ascribe any of these type of descriptions to God. So even if it does help us get close to Him, how is it that it is allowed if we know it is prohibited in the first place? So the answer is that the Rambam says it is a lashon b'nei adam, a way of us to be able to describe God in a way that we can understand is how it is normally understood. But when we take the Rambam's words and we understand a lashon b'nei adam, a language of man speak, really it is not that there are improper descriptions in the Torah, but rather whatever God's hand and God's mind are in a physical form, we are the actual representation of God. So when we say we have a hand or we say we have a mind, it is only for us to understand in some infinitesimal level what it means for God to have that in His realm. There exists a snake that tempts a person to pray for his own benefit, as in, give us life, give us bread, and similar benefits. A person must overcome this, however, and attempt to pray without any thought of personal gain at all, as if he is not even in the world. In this way, he will merit to attain the hidden light that is secreted away for the tzaddikim. The Holy One, blessed be He, desires the prayers of the Jewish people. When the Jewish people pray before Him, they fulfill His desire. At that time, God becomes, so to speak, like a woman, an isha, in the sense that He receives pleasure from us, as implied in the verse, a burnt offering, a pleasing aroma for God, Bamidbar 28:8. Through the pleasing aroma that God receives, He becomes like a woman. Furthermore, another verse states, the female will surround and court the man, Yirmiyah 31:21. This means that the Holy One, blessed be He, when He receives pleasure and becomes like a woman, then becomes like a surrounding garment, or in other words, it becomes revealed like a garment. It emerges that by means of prayer, God, who was initially hidden, is now revealed. And since the Holy One, blessed be He, and the Torah are one, in Zohar 3:73a, it turns out that through prayer, the Torah is revealed, specifically the secrets of the Torah. Divinity desires devout devotion. People's proper prayers pull powerful pleasure. A person cannot merit the secrets of the Torah except by blackening his face like a raven and showing a certain kind of cruelty to his children like the raven, as our sages of blessed memory have said in Eruvin 22a. In other words, a person must demonstrate total self-sacrifice, as it is written, "For you we are killed all day long," Tehillim 44:23. And he must pray with a complete nullification of his own physicality. As always, thank you so much for learning together. If you enjoyed this lesson, please remember to like, comment, share, and borrow. And please God, we'll learn again tomorrow.